All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth in sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believers. Shalom to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Now, this man is trying to use logic. And this is where logic goes wrong. Because he have good points. If I wasn't in the truth, I would think just like him. But see, he's going to be one of the main men that's going to be caught up in civil war because he actually believes that it's not going to happen. So we're going to play this video all the way through, and I'm going to get a few scriptures, Lord willing, to be edifying.
The reason there will not be a civil war in the United States is because there aren't enough people who actually care enough to get off their f***ing ass, grab a gun, and go fight. And of the people who do care enough to get off their ass, grab a gun, and go fight, they're only going to be able to walk like a quarter of a mile. And then they're going to be out of breath. And they're going to be looking for their Coors Light and their cigs. Right?
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
That's why there's not going to be a civil war inside the United States. I've seen civil wars. They are hard work. I've seen them in Africa. I've seen them in Latin America. I've seen them rage on in the Middle East. What we have here, people can't even conceive what an actual civil war looks like.
To get to the place where you have a civil war, so many cuts have happened. So many irreparable cuts.
The only option left to you is to grab a gun and fight. And when you grab a gun and fight, dude, like, you're not carrying around 600 rounds of ammunition with a whole logistical supply chain behind you like we see with the U.S. military. Like, these are 35-year-old dudes who fill their pockets with ammunition. Rounds. And then they sit on the corner of, like, the 7-Eleven, the equivalent of a 7-Eleven in some foreign third world country. And then they fire 2 or 3 shots every 6 or 7 hours, right? Trying to, like, hold the ground because they know that they're fighting against somebody who's only got 50 or 75 rounds in their 2 pockets. And it's the real race is who's going to get water and who's going to get Twinkies next. Because without water and fuel, without water and food, you have no way of fighting a war. So I'm not at all worried about civil war in the United States. I'm worried about a bunch of pissed off people, and I'm worried about an overstretch of law enforcement trying to take care of people who are demonstrating possibly within the realms of their right to demonstrate. The reason there will not be...
So, sounds very logical. But one thing that he forgot, if he even believes, in a God, period. Because, most people believe, in a higher power, but they believe that the higher power is just a power that allows you to have free will and do what you want. But yeah, they forgot about the orchestrator of all things. So I'm going to get a classic scripture because you can literally bring this scripture out for every prophetical video. Because the reason that prophecies is going to come to pass, this is why prophecy is going to come to pass. This scripture right here. A man's goings of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, how can a man then understand his own way? So, like, he's trying to rationalize in his mind, like, it can't possibly be a civil war in the United States. People fat and lazy. People don't give a damn that much. But the Lord is the one that's going to rouse up the spirits. All right. And all through this book, there's prophecy of, matter of fact, Yahweh Shai said it best. The reason that this even a conversation, because he hears conversations about it. And the verse scripture, right? And you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. So, yeah, in the beginning, it starts off as rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, which means that the rumors is actually going to become a reality. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. That's already happening. The earthquakes in diverse places. They're talking about pestilences right now. The primate bumps. They start talking about that now. Talk about it as an international risk. But it says all these are the beginning of sorrow. So these things are going to happen. Let's get another scripture. Oops. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. What is this code for? AKA, also known as America, the great city which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Also, the great city is the city that reigned over the kings of the earth. That's in Revelation 17 and 18. The first scripture I quoted was Revelation 11 and 8. So, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. So after that, so this is what's going to be happening. This is the reason why the Lord foretold this real quick. I want to say 24 and like, let me see. Oh yeah, duh. The hell I'm doing. I know this scripture, but I thought I was thinking of something else. But anyways, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of this time to this time, nor ever shall be. So the reason I read that is because it said neighbor against neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. So at this time, World War III is going to be, heating up. Also, your cities and people are going to be fighting at the same time. That's why, because in history, it's been wars, it's been famines, it's been pestilences, but it have not all happened at the same time. The Lord is about to turn this world up. You want to use little slang words? All right. The Lord is about to turn this world up. OK, so all these things is going to be happening at the same time. That's why the day of the Lord, which consists of the missiles, that's actually the cherry on top. But the process that's going to lead up to the missiles, it's going to be bad. All right. But see, he thinking of, the Civil War, back in the time of slavery when the North was fighting against the South. And it wasn't to release the slaves. But that's a whole nother video. All right. He's thinking about that. No, you're going to have military troops in your street, big ass guns. And guess what? If you got a gun, you're going to defend yourself. That's a civil war right there. You have all these migrants of military age, all right, that is in active mode until they get the call to get into active mode. They're called sleeper cells. So when they get that call, these people have no ties to the American people, and it would take nothing for them to mow you down. So Civil War is not the war that you think, Mr. Headband Man, Mr. Long Hair looking like a woman with a beard. All right. So, yeah, your logic, it would be relevant if it wasn't no God, put it that way. If you just using logic and like, yeah, because if the Lord is the one that's going to have to rouse up the spirits, because people are lazy as fuck and out of breath and not in shape. And you see the people do not care enough. You seen what happened when the pandemic happened. You had people lining up for experience. I can't even say what I want to say. So then you had people literally scared. All right. So whatever the damn government say, these people fall, hook, line, and sinker, man. So, yeah, you would be right, but it's not scripture. This is why knowing prophecy is very, very important. Woe to the world of them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. So everything that I just said, you're gonna have the United States National Guard fighting against these foreign troops. This is just me thinking of outside of the box, because the military is a so-called supposed to protect and serve their citizens, right? So if they see these foreign troops, so it's two ways that this can go. Either the U.S. National Guard is going to join with the foreign troops, because you already know that the top heads of these militaries is juiced in. All right. So that's a very good possibility. Now 50% with that. The other 50 is that it might start off as these states' militaries might be fighting against, the foreign troops. And then eventually it's going to trickle down to the inhabitants of the earth. All right. So, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes in the course of their power. Actions shall stand in their power. A man should desire to go into a city, should not be able. So look, you ever heard of the saying called when you have nothing to lose, you lose it? So at this point in time, the people of the earth is going to realize I have no choice but to take my freedom back. Because they're going to try to lock you down, as we just read. You should desire to go into a city and should not be able. That's going to cause a sedition. All right. America is the country with the most guns. All right. You have a lot of stand your ground states. All right. Open carry laws. All right. So you have a lot of guns here because the Lord wants his prophecies to be fulfilled. So using logic, like I said, I'm not even mad at his logic. But the prophets have to set the record straight. This is why they hate the prophets, because you can have, matter of fact, let's get that. This is what people don't consider. A man's heart deviseth his way, but Yahweh direct his steps. So the Lord is in control, man. So in his heart, this man's heart that's doing the video, the interview, in his heart, he like, man, can't no civil war happen in America, man. The people don't care enough. The Lord is going to make the people care, because it's really going to be smacked in your face. Like, what you gonna do? All right. They here. They about to take your life. You either gonna fight or flight. All right. The Lord is going to put everybody in that position. But the Lord said that he's going to protect his elect, though. And since I was talking about troops and things like that, just to show you that that's scripture, let's get this. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, which let's talk about the FEMA camps, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols, like a microchip. All right? Because you got to understand that microchip is an idol. And it's also something that you're going to have to bow down to as a god. All right. This microchip technology, they're really going to turn it into a god. And it says, and they that could sit unto them shall be had in derision, which means mocked and reproached and trodden underfoot. So even if you bow down to him, you're still going to be destroyed. You're stupid. All right. And it says, for there should be in every place in next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Because remember, Jacob's trouble, which is Israelites, and also in 1 Peter 4:18, it said that the judgment must start at the house of the Lord first. So the persecution is going to come upon those who says, I'm an Israelite and ascribes to the truth. Even if you a false prophet, dummy. All right. Even if you sold out to Esau, Edom, the scripture said, never trust thy enemy, dummies. All right. See, at least if you are in the truth, you have a covering of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Bashai. Some of us is going to be martyrs. Some of us going to get that power. Either way, you win at the end. OK, so but it said in every place in the next cities. The men of the Lord is not in every city. You don't have no men of the Lord in Utah. All right. So this is talking about just Israelites in general. But remember, judgments must start at the house of the Lord first, the ones who call themselves Israelites. And remember, Jacob's trouble is the world trouble, but Jacob is the focal point of the trouble. And it said they should be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. That sounds like civil war to me. All right. For they shall waste and take away their goods, cast them out of their houses, especially. And like I always, every time that I read Second Esdras, I think about all of these migrants that's over here. That's going to turn, they already squatters in people's houses. They're really turning people out. I just made a video a couple days ago about how you got migrants taking over apartment complexes. So people are being cast out of their houses right now. And they can't do nothing about it. And it said, cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, because these are the ones, they should be tried as the gold in the fire. So the ones that's going to be able to be seen is the ones who's going to stand stiffly for the name of the Lord, no matter what they try to charge the men of the Lord with, what type of death, whatever the case may be. But you're going to have a lot of people who are going to be like, I don't know about that Israelite thing. I would just, right. So, yeah, so you will. But back to the point of this video. Let's get a point real quick.
Separable cuts.
The only option left to you is to grab a gun and fight.
Yeah.
And
when you grab a gun and fight, so that's scripture, man. That's scripture, So, yeah, logically, if it wasn't the orchestrator of all things, you would be right on. The American people don't care because the bread and circuses. But remember, at this time, the bread and circuses ain't going to be a thing. You feeding your face with much food as you want ain't going to be a thing. The Lord is really about to turn this place upside down. Okay? So all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You are wrong, my man. It's not scripture. Shalom.